Money wins wars. That's the brutal truth history keeps proving. And in the early 1930s, Germany didn't have it. No gold reserves to brag about, no booming economy, no trust from global lenders. Yet just a few years later, Adolf Hitler unleashed one of the most expensive wars ever fought. Tanks, planes, millions of soldiers, endless fuel and steel. So here's the real question that still haunts global history. How did Hitler fund World War II when Germany was already drowning in debt? This is where the story gets dangerous, clever, and disturbingly effective. Germany walked out of World War I financially crippled. The Treaty of Versailles slammed the country with massive reparations. Hyperinflation wiped out savings. People needed wheelbarrows of cash just to buy bread. By the time Hitler rose to power in 1933, Germany was technically broke and politically humiliated. No foreign bank trusted it. International credit was frozen. Traditional war financing was impossible. But Hitler didn't plan to play by traditional rules. One of Hitler's first moves was psychological, not military. He needed Germans to believe the economy was recovering. Public works projects exploded. Highways were built at record speed. Jobs appeared overnight. Factories reopened. On the surface, it looked like an economic miracle. Behind the curtain, it was a financial illusion fueled by debt that wasn't supposed to exist. Here's the core trick. Hitler's regime created a shadow currency. It didn't look like money, it didn't circulate in shops, but it paid for weapons, factories, and rearmament. The government issued special promissory notes to arms manufacturers instead of cash. These notes promised future payment, backed not by gold, but by the assumption that Germany would win future wars and seize wealth to pay everything back later. Factories accepted them because refusing meant losing government contracts, or worse. On paper, Germany wasn't spending money. In reality, it was stockpiling weapons at insane speed. This allowed Hitler to secretly rearm, while officially claiming Germany was respecting international limits. Once this system was in motion, the floodgates opened. Aircraft production skyrocketed. Tank divisions expanded. Ammunition factories ran non-stop. All of it funded by delayed payment and state guarantees that pushed the problem into the future. Hitler didn't care about future debt. He believed war would solve everything. Conquest would pay the bills. And for a while, it worked. When World War II began, the financial strategy shifted from illusion to outright theft. Every conquered country became, well, a bank vault. Gold reserves were seized, national treasuries emptied, art, factories, raw materials, and even labour were stripped and shipped back to Germany. Entire economies were looted to feed the war machine. Occupied nations were forced to pay so-called occupation costs, essentially funding the army that controlled them. This wasn't a side effect of war. It was built into the plan. War was, quite literally, the business model. As German men went to the front, factories needed workers. But instead of paying wages, the regime turned to forced labour. Millions of civilians and prisoners were transported into Germany and put to work under brutal conditions. This cut cost dramatically. No fair pay, no rights, no safety. Human beings became disposable machinery. From a cold economic perspective, it allowed production to keep rising even as resources became scarce. By the mid-war years, Germany was no longer pretending. Civilian consumption was cut. Rationing tightened. Entire industries were redirected to serve the military. The economy became a weapon. But here's the catch. The system was fragile. It depended on constant expansion. Hitler's financial strategy only worked as long as Germany kept winning. Each conquest paid for the next campaign. But once defeats began stacking up, the illusion collapsed. Supply lines broke. Oil ran short. Bombing destroyed factories faster than they could be rebuilt. The debt that had been postponed now became impossible to hide. Germany hadn't built a sustainable economy. It had built a gamble fueled by conquest. And like all gambles, eventually the bill came due. By the final years of World War II, Germany was financially and materially exhausted. Currency meant nothing. Cities were rubble, production collapsed. The shadow money that once powered the war was worthless because there was no future victory to back it. Hitler had funded the war by betting everything on winning fast and winning big. When that failed, the entire system imploded. This story isn't just about the past. It's a warning. Economic miracles built on debt, secrecy and aggression don't last. They burn hot and collapse hard. Hitler didn't defeat poverty. He postponed reality with paper promises, stolen wealth and forced labor. World War II exposed the truth behind the illusion, and history paid the price. If you found this breakdown valuable and eye-opening, this is exactly the kind of deep, hard-hitting history we bring to the scars of a global storm fronts. Subscribe for more stories that cut through myths and expose the real mechanics behind world-shaping events. Share this with someone who loves history beyond the surface. And stay sharp. History always leaves scars worth studying.